Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
the meeting. It's 9 o'clock. We're going to start the meeting this morning. I'm going to call it to order. Our Board of Trustees Workshop meeting, December 18th, 2025 at 9 a.m. Excuse me. Please stand. And men, please remove your hats. We'll do our invocation. Bow your heads, please. Father in heaven, we all give you praise and thanksgiving. We thank you for another beautiful day in Holiday Park. We come together today in the hope of betterment of our park community. We ask for your blessings on all our proceedings this evening, or today, and on all of our residents, those who are visiting the park. We thank you, Lord, for those present at our meeting and for those who are streaming. We thank you for our trustees, our district manager, and all park staff, and ask you to bless them for the work that they do here in the park. We ask that the Holy Spirit guide our discussions and interactions this morning, and we want to do what is best for our residents. We ask for your help and guidance so that those present are patient, understanding, and respectful to one another as we remember that we are a community of family, neighbors, and friends. Please help us all to remember that we are celebrating the birth of Jesus in just 1 week. May we all remember this and be the light of Christ to all we meet. We ask all these things in the name of your beloved Son, Jesus, our Lord and Savior. Amen. Now we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Okay, now we'll do our roll call.
Good morning, everyone. Chairperson Sean Flattery. Okay. First Vice Chair Bob Bachman.
Present.
Second Vice Chair Rick Haggard.
Present.
Treasurer Don Lemaster.
Present.
Secretary Deb Burns. Present. Assistant Secretary Jackie Mitchell. Present. Trustee Tim Selo. Trustee Joni Anderson.
Excused.
Trustee George Clinch.
Present.
District Manager Vicki Lawrence. Present. Sergeant at Arms Rick Weber.
And also I want to state that Bob Bachman needs to leave at 9:30 today, so he will be leaving early. Okay, next up is our report from our district manager.
Good morning, Holiday Park trustees and residents. Welcome. It's been a busy time in the park with all of the Christmas activities. If you haven't joined in yet, there is still time and more holiday activities scheduled. Enjoy and have fun. I would like to thank the trustees, Men's Club, and ARC for the employee gifts, bonuses. They have been distributed, and all were very appreciative of the generosity this year. Just a few updates. The Phase 1 compound cameras will be installed beginning January 7th. That was approved at our last regular scheduled trustee meeting. So you'll start seeing those go in starting January the 7th. On Polina Boulevard, if you see cones in the areas where there's gravel, those were put out by Summit Excavating. That's doing all of the work, with the drains and the pipes to that area. The roads are not closed. It was just a cautionary, by putting those out. So no one runs over those, runs through the gravel and causes any issues for them. We were also notified last Friday, some of you, I know a lot of you have been calling or coming by for some updates, but we were notified last Friday by the Florida Health Department technician who conducts our pool inspections to close our Phase 1 pool due to a positive result for bacteria. There's always bacteria in pools, correct, but it's a pass-fail, so they advise that we are required to close the pool under that condition. Our maintenance supervisor, Tanner, is following the safety guidelines that was provided by the technician, which was to shock the pool. Then the technician would come back for follow-up inspection, which was completed earlier this week. We don't have the testing results, but as much chlorine that went into the pool, there's no doubt that we're back at the a pass, but we'll wait for their results. Tanner is monitoring the now high chlorine levels and is working diligently to have the pool back open sometime today. That's why we're not opening it right now. The chlorine is just way too high. We will keep all of the residents posted. Also, just please remember to rinse off. We have the shower, at the pools, but please remember to rinse off before getting into the pool. That would be helpful. And then also use the pool bathrooms when necessary. Please follow the 15-mile-per-hour speed limit in the park and stop at the stop signs. We just want everyone in our park to be safe. I have had to stop a couple of people that were in the park for going at a high rate of speed, and they were delivery drivers. So, when you're seeing that, report it if we can, safely, approach them, then we will. And we may need to get more police activity in the park as well. The district office will be closed for the Christmas holidays on Wednesday, December the 24th at 12 o'clock p.m. through Friday, December the 26th. The pools and facilities will be closed at noon on Christmas Eve and will reopen as normally scheduled on Christmas Day. Mark Raguth will be the custodian during the Christmas holidays. So just so you know, Don Rossman, is a full-time employee, so he will be off during the Christmas holidays. So Mark will be available. I will be on vacation the week of December the 29th, and the trustees and staff have been provided with my backup plan during my absence. I wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and look forward to seeing you all in 2026.
Thank you, Vicki. Chairperson's report. The board welcomes all those attending our meeting this morning and all those who are streaming this meeting. Please keep all resident comments to 3 minutes or less, and please refrain from any side comments or discussions as they are distracting to others. And anyone who's speaking into a microphone, please make sure you're close to the microphone so that everyone can hear you, especially those who are streaming. I have no items to report this morning, just to let everyone know that this is our last board meeting of 2025. Thank you. Trustee reports. Do we have any trustee reports? We'll start. Okay.
Yes, it's not a report, but I'm sure everybody's been wondering about taxes here in Northport since we're not going to have them here at Holiday Park. I've made up slips that will be available in the office starting today. We're going to have taxes done at the Shannon Staub Library, which is out by 75 on Tuesdays and Fridays. San Pedro is Wednesdays, and the Senior Center is Thursdays. So, but these slips will be in the office to pick up, and there also will be an item in the February newsletter telling you how to make an appointment and so forth. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Any other trustees? Okay, being none. Oh, I also wanted to state change to our agenda. We're adding one supplemental item. It's going to be continued streaming because this is Nancy's last day, so we're going to speak to how we're going to deal with that for our January regular meeting and going forward. Being no other trustee reports, we're going to move on to resident comments. Any resident comments this evening? Being none, we're going to move on to old business, where we talk about our project list. So for the project list, it's been updated. All the trustees have a copy of it. My only question would be just an update for items number, for item number 1, which is actually not number 1, it's the project, the culverts. So it'd be the top item. Do we have an update for that, Rick? The last thing we had was 3 remaining locations are set to be completed in October and November 2025.
Yeah, they have one more to complete, and then they'll be coming in and putting down the asphalt. I do have the estimates on the remaining culverts, and I have an estimate for the sidewalk repair. So line item 4 is $273,000, $260.
Say that one more time, 273.
Yeah, $273,260. And they have it broke down basically a la carte, so we can pick whichever ones we want to do.
Okay, so we'll put that on a future workshop to look at that more in detail. Thank you. You said they have one more to complete. Do we know when they're going to complete that?
No, I believe they were pulled off for they told me an emergency to do something for the city.
All right. And where is that located, the last one?
Plain, I don't recall the address.
Is it?
That's correct, 5088 Polina.
Okay.
I have a question. Are we waiting to pay the contractor? Or is this the remaining, what we owe them? Or is this for the rest of the project or?
Number 4, you were talking about the 207?
No, I'm talking about number 1, where we've got 134,000.
That's already, we've already approved that, and that's already been taken out of the budget, the project budget. So,
It's what, it must be the balance that we owe them, then, correct?
No, they were
No.
paid, deposit up front.
So,
We'll update that on the next, what the balance is.
okay,
we're just waiting for them to finish the last one and to get face the project, and then the remaining monies will be paid to them, and then that will be moved to completed.
okay.
Because Jackie, we still had the money left because it was approved in last year's project budget. The money is still there to pay the bill,
Okay.
whole bill.
All right.
Does anyone have any other updates or comments? You've had a chance to review it again. As you see, as things move off the front page, we move them to the last page, which is project completed. So I had just moved over the sports court resurfacing project. So that's now on the completed projects list.
I do have on the medium term, the number 6, replace broken sidewalks. We have an estimate back from Summit for $140,000. That's to replace a little over 3.5 miles of concrete sidewalks.
Sean, I also have a correction on the account balances under the trees for Tuscola and the pavilion fund. Trees for Tuscola should be $2,206.91. The balance for the pavilion should be $115,605.
Remind me where that's at, because I'm missing. Oh, I see. It's on
Number 4.
page 2.
4 and 5. All right, the balance for the trees is $2,206.91. The balance for the pavilion is $115,605.
On number 2, on the short term, it's talking about the electrical work that needs to be done. It's also number 3 on the long term. And it has, on the medium term, is the lighting for the pool. So I'm wondering if we need to keep those in place, or how we're gonna handle that.
No, what this is number 2 on the short term is just putting together a plan for what is needed. It's not actually doing the work, okay? It's just looking at a plan of what's gonna need. And I guess it's a good time to talk, we're going to get an update from the pavilion committee today.
Okay.
We'll go through that. So that's going to possibly affect this. We'll affect it, but we'll need to bring this back and talk about how we're going to move forward on that one.
Yeah, I guess I was a little premature then, I guess.
No, that's a good point, because it does need to be updated.
Yes.
Okay, anything else? We're going to move on.
I have one more thing.
Okay.
On the long term, we have the eliminate sinkhole, item 5.
Yes.
It's also on, I believe, the medium.
No, it's on the front. It's on the
It's on the
short term.
front.
Yeah,
so-
I have it in both places because I was hoping that, I wanted to speak to that and I forgot. Is it going to be done by the summit, or I see it's marked out there now?
Summit will, as soon as we have an estimate that we can get a review and have approved. So it will be more, should probably remain on the short term and then removed from the long term. They don't believe they believe it's going to be well less than 1,500.
Okay, so I'm going to remove it from the long term then.
Yes.
I
Thank
believe
you,
the
Vicki.
asphalt company is going to take care of that when they come back in to do the asphalt for these remaining road repairs for the current project.
Okay.
All right, thank you, everyone. Great updates. Anything else? I will update these, and you will have a copy of it in our next meeting. New business. Item 1 is a park compound space for cargo trailers. Now, the way I would like to handle this time is, this is the second time I've been able to review this. I missed our first review, and this is the third time it's come to the board. The first thing we need to do is address how we're going to handle items per our deed restriction 3E. That's number 1.
Yes.
Once we review that, then I would like to go through the changes that were made one by one, because some of the changes are impacted by what we decide on our deed restrictions and some are not. So some of these changes we may approve to go forward with. All right? With that, I'm going to we're going to open it up with the deed restrictions. I want to make 2 comments on the deed restrictions. The big question here is, how do we handle the item that's called similar recreational vehicles? The deed restriction is 3E for anyone who wanted to look it up. It says the district's board of trustees has made provisions for a storage area for currently registered vehicles, which shall include boats, boat trailers, travel trailers, campers, and similar recreational vehicles, which shall be stored within the special area provided by the district's board of trustees. Now, this area, it goes on to say, no boat, no trailer, travel trailer, camper, or similar recreational vehicle may be stored or kept upon any residential lot for more than 48 hours. So that's why we have this, this compound area created. And this is a locked area where these recreational vehicles can be placed. Now, I'm opening that up for discussion now, because we have 2 issues that we have. We have one where it's a new one. We're talking about cargo trailers and possibly putting cargo trailers in as a similar recreational vehicle. And we've had kayaks in there. And although and both of those have been in there for a while. We've had kayaks in there since I've been here, which is over 3 years. I don't know how many years they were here before that, but at least for the last 3 years. So that's clearly something that the board discussed and said, you know what, we're going to allow kayaks to be in there as a similar recreational vehicle. So that's one thing I want to make clear, is that the board can make decisions like that going forward on when we're talking about a deed restriction like this, until we get the time to go back to the deed restriction and add kayaks to that line above. That's one point I want to make. Second point I want to make is there's a 21-foot, as I learned at the last meeting, there's a 21-foot cargo trailer already being stored, and it's been there for over a year. And that was done before George was in there. So again, that never came to the board to be discussed before it was put in place there. So there's an issue that needs to be resolved based on what we discussed today. So those 2 things I want to make clear first, and now I'm opening it up for discussion. Thank you.
Mr. Chairperson, I'm in charge of compounds, and I would like the opportunity to speak first. Other than I'd like our district manager to talk about this first before me. but I would like the opportunity to speak before any other trustee.
Go ahead. You got the floor.
District manager.
Oh, go ahead, district manager.
Okay, thank you. So, one of the reasons that this is being brought to and is on an agenda item is, we're handling, George is a trustee over the compounds, and then in the office, we're maintaining the information. So if a resident needs a spot, a space in the compound, depending on what type of what type of vehicle they're bringing in, if you will. We either have those spaces that have been identified that we could place them in those spots and make sure that they have all the required documentation to reserve that or to be in that spot. We are running more and more where we have less space available to accommodate. We have more and more of the cargo and utility trailers over the last several years, if you look through our documentation, that are coming into the park more and more. So, something, whether it's turning down residents to be able to provide them that space that if we don't have it, which is where we are now, is it's based on space available. And then also making sure that we're, with our current guidelines, that we're maintaining those standards and enforcing those rules under our current guidelines, that if they don't fit in there, fit within those guidelines, then they cannot have a space in the compound. So with that is, while we, George is proposing this to the board to consider, because we do have the deed restriction, as our chairperson has addressed prior to this. So I want to hand it back to George just to give some preliminary information of what we're seeing in the office, and then what George is experiencing as a trustee over the compounds.
Thank you. Yes, and you read about the deed restrictions. You read it, Sean. And you talked about kayak racks, and kayak trailers. It says nothing in there about utility trailers or anything in our deed restrictions. So, just like you mentioned kayaks, how did we get utility trailers, 2 compounds, an open and a closed compound, when it doesn't mention in the deed restrictions? But it's in our rules.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe it's because of the rules and regulations definition, as well as this park compound rules, this park compound rules and regulations that was created. It was to be more specific and define how we're going to handle those items.
George, several years back, we kept having people. That's why we wouldn't allow them in the RV lot. So then we created the additional space outside the unlocked place along where the shed's at. That was added to accommodate more people because the other lot was full and the spots were too hard to get anything with any length into them.
Yes, I think I understand that, and I agree with it. And right now, you brought up about in the past bringing in a trailer that was too long.
Yes.
And I also brought in a trailer in the past that I could not have a spot. I had to wait for a spot. Now, I'm under because I'm in charge of compounds, there are spots available in the RV compounds. And I'm asking for a rule change to accommodate that. I don't want to stay in the past. I want to go to the future. And I want to make areas for residents to be able to be used if they're available. And that's why I'm asking for this rule change. I just spent the last 10 days, in the past 10 days, I spent time moving trailers with my golf cart in the back compound to make area for our cargo space in the open compound. Nobody wants to go in that back compound because it's nearly impossible to move trailers in and out of there. And I think maybe there may be a resident that may talk about that back compound, and it is impossible to move in and out of there unless I do it with a golf cart, which I put a hitch on mine, because years ago, Kenny asked me to move stuff in there, my trailer and another trailer, and that's how I did it, and have been doing that. I'm asking for the more space to accommodate residents that want to bring in stuff, trailers, and I thought it'd be an opportunity, because we have longer trailers that are now in our open compound.
Could I ask a question? It seems how I have a camper. Is there a possibility with that smaller compound that you have now that's tight, that you put all the kayaks in one area? Because with the storms we've had, those kayaks are missiles.
Yes, Bob, I understand that. That was brought to me before. But right now, I'm trying to save the park money by moving things around. And it's going to cost quite a bit of money to move them kayak racks. And furthermore, we'll probably have to replace them if we do move them, which is going to be a big cost.
I thought they were just rebuilt because of the last storm.
They've been
Men's Club did
rebuilt
it.
twice. But to pull them out of the ground, which they're buried in the concrete and the asphalt, not concrete, asphalt, I'm sure we're going to have to replace them.
Okay.
So that's a cost if the park wants to pursue it that way. And it's a cost to put in more utility trailers. I just wanted, I'm in charge of compounds, and I want to follow the rules as I have been. But when I started compounds, I knew I could see there were rules broken. And I tried to adhere to them with a little bit of back talk. And I know that another comment was the deed restrictions. Yes, if you don't want to consider similar recreation vehicles as trailers or kayaks and kayak racks, then I don't know what you're going to do. And another, I lost my train of thought.
Well, George, thank you. Thank you for bringing this to our attention, and thank you for trying to update our documents so that we make things
Oh, wait a
correctly.
minute. Wait a minute. As I said, I want to follow the rules, as I have been trying to. But in the past, it wasn't followed by proof that there is a cargo trailer in the RV spot. And I don't want to do that. That's another reason why I'm asking for a rule change.
Thanks, George. Okay, so one of the ways that that this board has in the past, before many of us were even on it, is by creating this park compound rules and regulations for recreational vehicles, motorhomes, boats, kayaks, and utility cargo storage trailers. That is a way to further define how we handle those compound areas. And like I said before, in my opinion, I know that there's a definition out there in Webster's for recreational vehicles, and I went through and I read it too. However, similar adds a new, to me personally, it adds some leeway in there, some wiggle room. And I think that wiggle room is so that you can redefine or further define in detail using the park compound rules and regulations. The board may think differently of that. So with that being said, everything that we've heard so far, I think what we ought to do is we should walk through the changes that George has here in this document one by one and see what you think about each one individually. And we can discuss it as we move along.
Mr. Chair, I just want to make a comment on the deed restriction. And I appreciate all the work you've done, George, but I even went to Google this morning for help. And in punching in similar recreational vehicles, it comes up with a very defined definition. and being asked to overlook a deed restriction for whatever reason was put in place years ago, I just can't support overlooking that deed restriction. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a response to that. I have also Googled it, and I forgot to bring my page back from Google. Can a cargo trailer be defined as a similar recreation vehicle? And Google says yes, and then it goes on through a definition of it. And I forgot to bring that with me, but it says yes. So I guess I don't understand.
I have something also to say. I'm afraid we're going to end up with nothing but cargo trailers and 2 RV lots for storage only. Most of these cargo trailers never leave. They're just being used for storage. I don't see a problem telling these people they've got to find outside storage until one opens up.
I have a response to that too. It's none of our business what is in trailers, including RVs and boats. Yes, trailers do not move. And I talked to the gentleman that has the 21-foot cargo trailer in our lot now. And he says, well, I can take care of that. He's a welder by trade. He says, I'll just cut the hitch off.
Okay, do it.
So I don't understand why we can't do this. And furthermore, there's cargo trailers that are derelict, and I've asked to have them taken care of, and they were taken care of. And I have boats that are derelict and asked to have them taken care of, and they're not being taken care of. So you go with that.
May I say, George, you've got quite the dilemma. You inherited a lot of issues. But when you say you have 3 people that have trailers or whatever that wanted to get in the compound, if we only have 2 spaces, that's all we can do. We can go first come, first serve. And then the last person will have to just figure out what they can do until a space comes available and be on a wait list. I don't know what else to say. It's just an awful dilemma.
Other than that, I can cram more utility trailers, which I have to use my golf cart, and anybody else will too. And I hope a resident speaks up about getting a trailer out of that tight compound trailer. I have already moved 2 of them in there to make room for more cargo trailers. And I cannot understand why our rules will not allow them to be in the RV compound.
I have one more. Then I suggest we change the deed restriction first.
Well, first, okay, you know, that would be a nice thing to do if it wasn't so expensive to do and so time consuming. And the other issue, guys, is, again, I'm going to bring up the kayak situation. The kayaks have been in there for years, which to me tells me that it was discussed in this board at some time, and it was okay to put kayaks in there. And if it's okay to do that and add that into our rules and regulations for the compounds, then we certainly can do it for what George is asking. Now, it's up to the board. That's why we have 9 people. We have different opinions. That's why there's a board of 9. And we don't always have to come to, we just have to resolve this one way or the other by our vote, okay? So if there's a consensus today to bring this forward, all the changes, fine. If the consensus is just to bring certain items forward, that's fine also. But we need to move on, so we're going to do that right now. We're going to move through it, and we're going to get a consensus on how, because I know everyone, we could argue this back and forth forever. So we're going to move forward. All right. So, George, would you like to lead us through this, or do you want me to?
You're doing good, Sean.
Okay. So, page 1, there's nothing. So, we're going to move on to page 2. Page 2, we have number 3. It says, Cargo trailers are defined as trailers which are closed on all four sides and top. Cargo trailers, this is the new part. Cargo trailers that are in excess of 18 feet up to 25 feet total length are considered as similar recreational vehicles and will be permitted in the recreational vehicle compound, providing space is available. All right, I need a consensus here on who is okay with this wording and who is not. Okay, we have one. Bob cannot speak, and neither can Joni because they're not here.
Of course, I'm okay with
Yep,
it. It'll
so we
make
have-
my job a lot easier.
2. We have 3. We have 1, 2 that are not. Jackie? We have 3 that are not. I'm okay with it. I think we'll bring it, and then we'll vote on it, and we'll see how this works. But again, it happens, we might find out that, George, that number 3 is voted not to go forward at our next meeting, but we'll find out at that point. All right, we're moving on to number 7. No recreational vehicle shall exceed 40 feet in length. Exception, refer to number 3. Is there any, so the exception is for the cargo trailers. Is that what I'm seeing here? Yes. So that seems to be okay, except or if we don't vote on number 3, then we don't need that section there. Number 8, no utility trailer shall exceed 18 feet in length from rear of the trailer to the furthest point hitch tongue. Is that okay? Because that's individual, right? That's by itself.
I do not want car haulers as utility trailers, which are open utility trailers in the RV compounds. That's why that's there.
Okay. Anyone have an issue with that one, that point?
No.
That one's okay. All right, on page 3, number 20, no open car haulers are allowed within the compounds. Is that okay with everyone?
Yes.
That further defines that, okay. And number 24, kayaks and kayak racks. Now, I appreciate this one, by the way, because this one actually brings our documentation up to what we've been doing for years
Yes.
in those areas. So, kayaks and kayak racks are considered as similar recreational vehicles and will be permitted in the recreational vehicle compounds. That brings us into compliance.
Yes.
Okie dokie. With that being said, we'll bring this back with those items, same items, no changes, and we'll vote on it. And again, as a group, we can vote on these individually at the meeting so that some of them may pass, some may not. We'll see. Thank you, George, for all the work you've done on this. I know it's not been easy, and I know the job that you have over there that you inherited is not easy either. Just getting things.
One more
to work.
question, Mr. Chair, or to Vicky. We're always told it's a massive cost. Do we actually know what it is to bring a deed restriction change?
I do not know the cost, but I will find out before our next meeting.
It's several $1,000s.
Yeah,
what I understand.
I've been told by our attorney it's about between $2,500 and $4,000, something
Yes.
like that. But that's the easy part.
Yeah.
The hard part is the process we have to go through and then get it out to all of our residents. And we can talk about this but one of the items we might want to talk about this year, this after the new year, is putting together a committee that would go through our deed restrictions. I have several items that I've noted over the last couple of years that need to be changed, and start working on the changes and how they have to be drawn up and written up to bring to us. Once we vote on them, we only have 10 days to get them out to everyone for the vote. So the process, I'm not saying we can't do it. I'm just saying it's more than a one-person show.
Yes.
We need a committee to do it, and we can talk about how we could create that committee and move forward with those changes. And maybe it's about time to do that. All right. So, Vicki, we'll have to remember to put that on a future board meeting
Okay, we'll
workshop.
revisit that.
Okay, so we'll bring this back. The next item we have is our Pavilion Committee update. And I believe Vicki is going to give that update. I know we have several people here from the committee, and they can comment if they would like. Also, Bob was going to give this update because he's our liaison to that committee, but he's had to leave. So Vicki's going to give it. Thank you, Vicki.
Okay, so for the Pavilion Committee update, there has, what we'd like to bring or propose to the board for consideration is that we're requesting that the board allow the pavilion to be placed in the picnic area in Phase 1 as part of a change of plans. And in the, if you haven't looked already, it has been staked out. That is a 50 by 60 pavilion area, and that will also, no trees will be removed or affected, with the pavilion going in that area. So you'll see that through the staked out area that has been put in. So I really invite you to go out there and take a look at where it's being proposed to be moved. The size of the building, it has now been determined that we can do a 50 by 60 foot building, a square foot building. In the Phase 2 area, it was going to be about 50 by 52. So we are increasing and able to increase the size in the Phase 1 area.
I want to just stop you right there. Some things have gone on behind the scenes that I will bring you up to date on after Vicki completes this update.
All right, so also any structure that will be built will follow all the codes, hurricane, et cetera, that are required, and with the services of an architect or general contractor. And this will be a different type of pavilion than what I wouldn't say initially, but was progressing into when they were looking at going into the Phase 2 area. This is now going to be strictly a roof and post, a cement slab, minimal. It will have power, so it's going to be more minimized in its scope of work, and also with its cost, which you'll see the cost. We don't have the actual confirmed estimates yet, but the cost should be estimated in the $150,000 to $175,000 range, and still going to be, color coordinated, and the surroundings will be aesthetic, in its appearance. Of course, all that will be, if this moves forward, the committee will continue to progress in those areas and then, present that as they have them to the residents and the board. Also, with the previous pavilion that was being scoped out and worked through, architect was hired, and that invoice for the work that they were going to be, or that were contracted to do, was $15,000 for the design drawings. We've paid $5,000 of that up front to start the design work. If we weren't going to proceed with them, they were going to reduce the $15,000 to $10,000. And we're out $10,000 because we wouldn't receive all of those finalized drawings and specs and everything. So what's being requested is that the architect would receive the full $15,000 for all the design drawings and any other promised documents that is in that agreement, which the park would hold on to the future and see if there's a future use of the type of pavilion that the architect has presented as a design option. The current committee is still to oversee the project until it is finished. And of course, no one knows what the future will bring, and things can change, but this gives you all some sort of idea of what the Pavilion Committee is working on.
Okay, with that being said, I want to give some updates. The committee met. They met a few times over the summer, and that was to get this information to and create a contract with an architectural design company, and that's where the 15,000, and that was approved last spring by the board to move forward with. Now, remember, when this pavilion was originally planned and presented, it was back in last February, late January and February. And we were looking at, some people would say, the Taj Mahal version of a pavilion, because it was to hold 200 to 250 people underneath it. It was to have a kitchen area, okay, and a storage area. And at that time, if we would have put it over here in phase 1, it was going to take out our trees. And a lot of people had a problem with that. The other part of that proposal was that it was going to have electrical so that you could have fans in it. We could use it at that time. It would have lighting so that you could use it in the evenings for evening parties outside. That was the scope. Well, once the architectural drawings came in, the preliminary ones, it was seen, the architect themselves told us, okay, this is going to be a $500,000 project. And because of that, the pavilion committee got a little skittish, and they knew this is going to be tough to raise $500,000 for this. And one of the people on that committee is Lois, and Lois had strong opinions about this is not what Ken had envisioned when he gave the money, okay? And so, with that being said, the committee then started looking at a reduced size. Remember, we were going to put it over in phase 2 where the old shuffleboard courts were. And there's a lot of, it's a little over that, but just the green area was 50 by 52 in that area. And all that cement would have to be dug out and removed, so that would be part of the cost. And then the slab would be laid to hold the 250 people, which was bringing it all the way, taking up that whole area, basically. Which is not to say that in the future we might not still want to do that as a park. But it wasn't what Ken and Lois had in mind when they gave the money. And it's going to be hard. We have a lot of people saying, why don't we get this pavilion up? And at that cost, that was going to be tough to do. So the committee had thought to themselves, okay, let's reduce the size. And they had a meeting in November, and they were going to reduce the size to just the green area, which would have been a 50 by 52 area for the pavilion, and it would have been just the, they were going to even try to reuse the cement, but then they already was talking to a general contractor about this. Some of those things that they were moving forward with did not come before the board, and because that's a common ground area, the board has to okay these things, okay? The committee is working underneath the men's club, and they're doing a great job, and they were doing the best job they could. But we had to get back with them and say, listen, number one, your meetings have to be all public meetings, okay? You can't do this as just the committee itself. So going forward, all the committee meetings will be a public meeting. It will be advertised so that anyone in the park who wants to come can come to the meeting, number one. Number two, any changes or any scope changes or the board has said that the money out there can be spent, the figuring out of this pavilion, the size and how to spend the money can be done through this committee. That's great. However, because it's still common ground, you have to bring these ideas and things to the board to make sure that the board is okay, because it affects the whole park. Okay, so with that being said, that's how we got to this point. The committee looked back at it. They said, you know what? Our original idea for this big sized pavilion made sense to be put over in phase 2. But now that we're reducing the size and we have the extra cost of dealing with that shuffleboard area, it doesn't make sense. Why don't we bring it back over to phase 1? Now we don't interrupt, because it's just going to be used mostly for the picnics and for music in the park. It's a great area over there for music in the park. And it will be used during the day, daylight hours, and that was one of the other concerns of putting it over here, is because if this pavilion was going to be used at night, then it's going to interrupt the sleep patterns possibly of the people that live in this area over here. Whereas when it was in phase 2, it's not going to interrupt anyone, because that's a central location away from all the homes. So that's why they brought this to us, and what we need here from the board is whether or not we like what they're proposing now, and we want them to move along this direction or not. And what we would bring back to the board at our next meeting would just be a vote on moving it from phase 1 at this point to phase 2, and the size of 50 by 60. I mean phase 2 to phase 1 and the size. And then the committee has to continue moving forward with getting a contractor, getting the design to us, and the costs. I think that's it.
I would just like to add one more thing to that, Chairperson, is that because this is a greatly reduced scope of work that's being presented, is that it should also be able to be completed. Should we get everything to the board timely, that it should be able to be done this coming spring, definitely in the summer time frame. So, it could be acted on as far as getting, the construction and everything going, and potentially getting it completed through the summer.
Yes, that's a good point. So that everyone comes back in the fall, we have the new pavilion out there. Okay, so we have the update. The board okay with bringing this forward? Okay, we will bring this forward to our regular meeting to vote on. Okay, the next item we have is our men's club storage building. And I don't know, does anyone here want to present this, or do we just want to have me walk through it page by page? Does anyone out there from the men's club want to speak to this at all? Or do you want us just, I guess what we'll do is we have the men's club here. If we have questions, they can answer those. I'll just walk through it page by page. You've all had a chance to review it. Okay, so actually I'm going to start with the very back page of in your packets. Mm-hmm. It shows where it's going to go. It shows the size. The size of it is a 20 by 30 building. That's the foundation, and it's going to have 12 by 12 concrete footings with rebar in there. So that's where it's going to go. So basically it's just going to take the place. It's going to fit within inside those trees there, so it's not removing the trees. And it's just going to, they're going to move that bike rack area. It would take, and they're going to pull out that concrete there that's in the picture and lay new concrete and footings for the building itself. So that's basically, that shows where it's going, and page 1 we talked about. And the cost of the concrete itself and the footings is almost $9,000. And by the way, the men's club will be paying for this project. The next couple pages show you what the layout is of the building itself. It's gonna have on the 4th page, I think. Well, actually, if we label them, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5th page, it actually gives you the update of, it's a 20 by 30. It's a 10-foot, what is that? Leg height? I'm not sure what that even means. What does that mean? Oh, okay. Both sides are closed. Both ends are closed. It's an 8 by 8 roll-up door, a chain hoist for the door, and a 36 by 80 walk-in door, and it will withstand 170 mile an hour winds. So, and then the other pictures just show you what it looks going to look like, the dimension, the front, the back, the sides. It's got 2 windows in it, or 3 windows. It looks like 2 on the left side, 1 on the right side, and then the front has the garage door, and then on the side, the right side has the door, the walk-in door. So with that being said, any questions do we have for Mike on this?
What will be the purpose of the building? Are they going to use it as a boutique, or is it going to be like for their storage, or?
It's going to be used to bring all the furniture that's currently over in the compound area in phase 1 in that building. That's going to bring that all over to put it right there for the boutique, so that people can see all the furniture available. When they open up the boutique, they can show the furniture. So it will increase sales of our furniture because people will be able to see it multiple times a week, and it will greatly decrease the time it takes for our men's club men to go over and grab a piece of furniture and bring it over here to have it looked at, or wait over at the compound for somebody to come and take a look at something that's over there. So it's going to help increase sales of the men's club boutique, and it's going to greatly decrease the amount of time our men's club volunteers are putting into this furniture.
Also, I was noticing this first quote does not mention the hoist. The way I looked at it anyway.
The first quote, the first quote is just for the concrete, so that's the 9,000.
Oh.
The second quote is another 10,000, so altogether this is about $19,000.
Okay. I didn't get that.
And an added bonus for this too, also increase some storage or work space for the maintenance folks over in the shed.
I also can add that the budget right now, or the money that the men's club has currently is about 50 grand. And so they're looking at spending 19 of it on this. So the money is there, they have it, and this is what they want to spend it on. And so I just want to know if the board is okay with this, if they have any other questions, and if we can bring this back to our regular meeting for a vote.
Yeah, I got a couple things here. I feel like I'm being the bad guy today, but I heard a laughter back there. But I believe our common grounds fall within our rules and regulations, does it not?
Yes.
Okay, so we have a couple issues here, and I fully support this. But we got to change a few rules and regulation rules and ACC rules. That, number one, we're not allowing our residents to have garages, so how can we approve another garage to be built within the park? That can be easily solved by doing away with the number 25 ACC rule, no garages in the park.
I want to just
Now,
well, wait. The ACC rules are pertaining to resident homes, not to common areas.
but how can we deny our residents things that we're allowing the park to have? The
Because
residents own this park, and we're telling them they cannot have a certain thing, but then we're allowing the park to have it.
okay. Well, again, there's 9 people up here. We can have differing views on things, so I'm not going to say any more about that. I'll let other people talk. But we take that. Thank you for bringing that up. What's the other thing you had to say?
Well, I asked them at the men's club meeting not to call it a garage, but then I got thinking about we can't call it a shed either, because we restrict our residents to 192 square foot shed. This is like 600 square feet, which is another easy fix by deleting that in our ACC rules or rules and regulations. These are not deed restriction changes. There's nothing in our deed restrictions about garages or sheds.
Correct. But that's two
I'm
different
just
discussions.
pointing that out.
Yes, thank you. My opinion on this is the ACC rules pertain to homes, and the board has to make decisions for common grounds, and when something makes sense to do, I don't think we're always going to have, we're never going to make everyone happy. We got to do what's best for the park. The common areas are what's best for the park. And this is a great idea, in my opinion, for the men's club. It helps them out. They got the money. We're not spending our money, our park money on it. And those rules are specifically for homes and not for the common areas. Correct. We already have things like that for storage and on the. Okay, I don't. We could argue this back and forth, but
Well, I want to point out, if our common grounds don't fall under ACC rules, then why are applications being put through the ACC approving common ground issues?
which common ground issues come to the ACC? Okay.
Rubbermaid sheds were one.
Our 2 sheds that went in last year.
They all had to come through the ACC.
That's a good question. But again, I think there's a distinction there. And we can allow things to go through the ACC like that, but that's a good question for the board. But personally, I think that the ACC, the real reason for creating an ACC was to handle issues concerning all the homes and to make sure that homeowners were following a set of rules when they brought in new homes. Go ahead, Nancy.
Nancy Celo, 6893 Amoco Court. Okay, so we don't allow garages in the park, but we already have a garage in the park.
Yes.
So if someone else wanted to put in a garage and we tried to take them to court over it, we would lose because the precedent has already been set.
Well, I don't know that for sure, because here's the issue. That garage was put in before we had our deed restrictions created. That garage was back when this park was put in the 70s, and it was 30 years here before the deed restrictions went into place.
But garages are not part of the deed restrictions. It's an ACC rule that just says no garages in the park, but in talking to the city, there's no reason that we can't have garages here. They don't deny us from having garages. And other communities like ours have garages.
Yeah.
And you also have a rule that says you can only have one unattached shed. There's 2 unattached sheds on a property in the park, you know? So
again, those might have been put in before ACC was in place and before our deed restrictions were in
No.
place.
Yes.
no, that wasn't.
All right. We changed that rule before the rule got changed. That person was allowed to have 2 sheds. After that, nobody could have 2 sheds. But that was before the rule was changed.
I agree that right now the ACC rule needs to be changed concerning the garage. But I think that you could change it to say no garages on residential property. And that would make the change, and that would allow the park to still have garages and common areas when they make sense and when the board as a whole approve them. So I agree with you, Tim, that there has to be a change to that one line item in there, and that should be made by you and brought to the thing. But I don't think we need to just remove the whole line item. I think we can make a change that makes it fall into what the board in the past, and unless the board wants to change it going forward, which is fine, but the board in the past, when they talked about garages, it's obvious that they were talking about residential areas and not common areas.
The only thing I have to say is that I believe the men's club is very valuable to this park in many, many ways. Residents benefit from it. As a board, we benefit from it because of what they do in improving our park. I don't think we should be even debating the fact that they want to build a storage area.
Yeah, to be fair to Tim, I don't think that's what he's trying to do. He said he supported this. He just wants our ACC rules to reflect what we're doing here in the park, and I agree with that. And I think what I just mentioned is one way to do that, is just make sure that rule is speaking to garages on residential properties, and then it takes care of the issue going forward. And I forgot what the other one was, but similarly, we might be able to do something like that to that one also. With that being said, do we want to bring this back? Okay,
Yes.
I see a lot of head shaking, yes. So we're going to bring this back as is, no changes to it. The only other thing I want to state is that Vicki had spoke to Northport, the city of Northport, and this, we have a site plan for the whole park that has to be updated. That would be something that doesn't have to be done prior to this project going forward. It just has to be done. So what Vicki is in the process of doing is getting a current site plan, whatever's been filed with the city of Northport, so that we can look at that and make sure there's no other changes that have come up over the last few years that might have to be added to that site plan. One item that we would add to it would be our pavilion, when we add the pavilion, but we've had some pavilion changes, and we have, in the site. So there might be some other changes that we have to put in that. So we'll do all of it at one time and refile it.
I have one more question. When are we possibly wanting to put this shed in?
I believe that as soon as it's approved, they're going to move forward with doing it. But the only other question would be maybe how you're going to. It has to be done so it's not interrupting, obviously, your barbecues that are going forward for the next 3 to 4 months. So I don't know if you're planning on doing it over the summer, or if it's something that can be done quickly and it's not going to interrupt the process of your barbecues. I don't know, but that's something for you guys to think about and bring back.
The reason I'm asking is because then we're going to have to insure that building.
Yes.
So
Yeah, once the building is there,
it's
we're going to
ours,
have to
and
insure
we
it.
have to insure it.
Any other questions? All right. That will be coming forward back. Okay, the next item we have is our supplemental. And this is talking about our continued streaming. Today, I want to thank Nancy for all the work she's done. She has spent so much time. She does a lot in this park. She does a lot in this park. Her and Tim both do. And I don't think, and it's all behind the scenes. So people don't realize all the work that she puts in. But she's getting worn out. This is something that she took on since we started streaming, and it's a lot. And so she wants to she would like someone else to step up and take this over. So as of our next meeting, we need somebody to step up and do the streaming. And I'm going to open this to Rick to find out what's going on in the search, and then the board can maybe suggest some things how we move forward with this.
Well,
And the reason I'm giving this to Rick, is because he's he's the chairperson of the technical committee. Thanks.
in communications, so it falls under one of those. We looked at the solution of having the office provide support for streaming. It's just not a full-time answer to the problem, I guess. I mean, we can do it on a part-time basis. I believe Madison has been trained. She's very efficient at it, but she also cannot be here in the evenings for our trustee meetings, and she has other obligations here to us in the park. So we've mentioned this a few months now that Nancy will be leaving, and we need somebody to fill in. And I've also taken it to, we have 3 consultants, Kim Jacobs, Kim Branch, and Sandy Hopkins, that help out in different areas, but they can't also be expected to be here to stream all of these meetings. So we still need someone to help support this area. Otherwise, we may not be able to stream the meetings But I think Vicky has some numbers. I don't know if you have them now, or I don't want to put you on the spot, but actually the views of the streaming are not as high as you would expect. So whether we go ahead, continue streaming, and we find a resource to help do this, or we quit doing it altogether is another option.
Go ahead.
So currently with the numbers, just today, we have 6 people that are viewing, that are showing viewing. We're somewhere sometimes between 12 to 35, and those could be views after, it's already live streamed, that may be going back and looking at it. I'm not sure that they're looking at it multiple times, but yeah, so, the numbers, we'd like to get them increased, of course, be able to provide that as an option for our residents.
Any other comments from board members?
Is it possible that the 3 consultants couldn't split their time in doing the streaming?
I believe they have, but I've asked, I don't know if they're all here or one of them's here. I don't know. They're not here today at the meeting.
Okay, and I guess the other question I would have, Vicky, is there any solution that we can come up with the office at taking this on? And actually, if we have to pay somebody overtime to be here and stream them in the evenings, or it seems like maybe they could do it during the day, but I don't know, or give them equal time off for coming in. I don't know. Or actually, it would be it would be time and a half for coming, I would think, for
Yes.
time off at least, because they're coming in on their evening. So I'll let you stop.
Okay. So Madison has spent some time, maybe not enough as far as real time in the meeting yet to be able to stream the workshops. So she could definitely do the workshops. However, we have the caveat that if there's a day, such as today, where we have an office staff member that is started their holiday vacation, and so that leaves one person in the office in the window, or that handles resident services, and the window opens at 10. So those cause some conflicts. So that wouldn't be every time, but there would be those moments that we would have to have a backup plan for the workshop meetings. The evenings, that has been presented to Madison. I have asked her. She would be open to the evenings. Initially it was presented as a backup, for her to be a backup. But I would have to discuss that with her again. We also have, don't want to put our maintenance staff out there, but we do have maintenance staff. Nick is pretty tech savvy, so he would be open, to coming into a workshop and, be able to commit to that. And then Tanner could, back up if there were any issues that arise on the maintenance side that, or if we had to hold off after the meeting, and see if he would be open to an evening once a month. So there is another option there to consider.
So what I think we should do going forward on this one is we need to have somebody from the tech team to take on our next meeting, our January regular meeting at least, to come and do that. And then at that time, our district manager can bring a proposal to us on a possible solution using either the office or our maintenance, so either Madison or Nick, and what the cost would be if we're paying them overtime, and what the time off would be, how we would it be, I'm proposing it would be at least time and a half.
Well, yeah, any overtime.
Well, the time and a half is overtime, yes, but I meant if it was equal time off for the time here, and either we say, we're not going to do that, we're going to have to pay them, or the time off would have to be commensurate to the evening being spent here.
Yeah, being that they are hourly employees, I believe our labor law will be that they have to be paid time and a half.
Okay, that answers that question. Very good. And which makes sense to me.
Yes.
Okay, Tim?
Well, being involved in this, seeing the enormous amount of time that she's invested into doing this, and your return on that investment is minimal, when your number of board members up here almost outnumber the residents out there. I've never been a fan of this because I'd rather see the residents here. So if we just let this fade off into the sunset because nobody else wants us to do it, I don't see a big loss.
That's another option.
Yes,
Definitely is an option.
I
So
tend to agree with Tim.
could we have maybe Vicky bring back to us at our regular meeting, not only what we just stated, but also actual numbers for the last year on the streaming of each of these meetings. So for maybe not the last year, but maybe this last January through December. Of the actual numbers, and this would include not just if you can split out how many streamed it actual and then how many reviewed it afterwards, that would be great. If you can't, then it would at least how many total have streamed it.
Okay, I'll see what kind of statistics we can get.
Nancy, you need to come up and speak.
Nancy Cielo, 6893 Amoco Court. Since I've been doing the streaming, it's been maybe 18 people at the most streaming a meeting live. And it goes up and down during the meeting. People will come in and out, but that's like the most I've seen. Normally, it's like 10, 11 people. And because one of the people that's streaming it is also me because I'm watching the video as we're doing this. And another thing that I do, I take a day before these meetings usually to come in, update the laptop, make sure all the apps on it are up to date, and set everything up, make sure everything's working right. So, I mean, there's extra time there that I've had involved in it too. So,
Okay.
and I come in an hour before, or at least an hour before the meeting to set everything up
That's a good point to make.
and tear down afterwards.
Okay, so we would also need, Nancy, you to, if you can, work with Vicky to put a list of those things to consider, those considerations together, so that we have that information before us when we're
I
looking
mean,
at this.
the instructions are all written right out as to how
Right.
to set everything up. So, I mean, that's very easy. Kim Jacobs has done a great job, setting that all up to make the process
Okay.
easy for someone.
It's just all the considerations of the time that
Right.
someone needs to put into it.
Right,
the
and then
prep
if something
time.
doesn't work right, trying to troubleshoot it before the meeting starts.
Yeah.
And
All right, so
Hey, Sean,
go ahead. Go ahead, Deb.
okay, thank you. I know I don't say much. Well, I just want to say, the streaming also helps me with my notes. Some of those people you see go back in, 15 people, 14 of them may be me. Just saying. Because I don't go in after, for every meeting, but if I have a question, I go in and I have to look at it. So the streaming I do like.
I think the majority of the people watch the meeting at a later time. They don't stream it live.
Yeah, I agree there.
Yeah.
Toby Russell, 6870 Pleasant Court. I am one of the people streaming. I stream it because I can't see the board because of the lights over. But I stream it just to see the board.
Yeah.
God, no, I've got too much on my plate already.
Rick Weber, 5743 Holiday Park Boulevard. Is there a reason that we
Rick, you need to get closer to the mic. Thanks.
is there a reason we should be recording these meetings
No.
anyway besides streaming? Legally? Or?
No, there's no reason that we have to record these meetings. This was purely, the purpose of the recordings was for our residents to be able to view online, particularly residents that can't make it to the meetings because physical challenges, and those that are away during our meetings, that they can watch it at a later time.
Thank you.
Actually, that was another hurdle that we had to go through for record retention when we did record the meeting, so.
Rich Curish, 5224 Polina, go blue. Biggest thing for us, for myself personally, is only a snowbird. The summer is the big one for me. I stream it all meetings during the summer so that we are not surprised. I'm not surprised when we get down there and something else, was voted on and or passed and or, right? So I think for me personally, the streaming is an asset to keep during the summer of what's coming and going.
Okay. Now, most of the time, we have no meetings over the summer. The board likes to take that off. But as this last summer showed, sometimes there are emergency meetings that are called, and I hear your point about. So a lot to consider around this. So we will bring this up. I wish we would have had all this. Unfortunately, I dropped the ball on this, I guess, because I didn't realize that it was coming to a head so soon. Even though Rick has been mentioning it, it went over my head. So I think we need to try to bring this to our January meeting, our regular meeting, and see if we can come up with some. So in this one item, our January meeting might be part of sort of a workshop prior to actually the vote on this one item. So be prepared for that.
Okay.
With that, any trustee comments?
Yes. We have a golf cart parade on Saturday, in case you didn't know. Every chance I've had, I've been announcing it. There's some traditional activities that we've had in the past that are being brought back. For instance, Santa Claus meeting with young children. We've got one little guy that's really looking forward to meeting Santa. No, it's not you, Tim. And the cookie party after too, so. Look forward to seeing everybody. Decorate your cart. Come on out. It's a fun time for all. Thanks.
Okay, George.
I just want to bring up the Christmas decorations are the crew will get together on January 5th to start taking them down for the mowing and for the new gate replacement. And I will leave the center lights up maybe till the end of January. And the Dolphin Fountain lights will be coming down also this year, probably at the end of January, 1st of February, because there's something on the short term that them lights and cords would be in the way. And that is Phase 2 landscaping to Scola Fountains, landscaping and so forth. And also, I'm concerned about them lights choking out the trees. And it's becoming expensive to keep them going because the bulbs get moisture in them and so forth, and they're just destroying the lights. So that's my agenda for the Christmas tree lighting. And after that, we need somebody to take it over because I'm not.
Thank you, George. Any other comments from trustees? Being none, I'm opening up for resident comments. We have a resident coming to the podium here.
Barbara Ruggiero, 5000 Polina Boulevard. Point of interest, At the July 22nd Board of Trustees meeting, a resident brought up, how are we going to promote the park? And the chairman said there's a committee to report in the fall to promote the park. Well, I don't think
We haven't had that.
Christmas is still fall, so I was wondering where you stand on that.
Well, if I said committee, I meant we have the H Park. H Park has a member, a board member, that does outreach, and they have been doing outreach. And if at the H Park meeting this last week, they presented his outreach report. So they've had an outreach report for new residents. So that's the only thing we have. We don't have a committee for marketing. We do not have a marketing committee appointed in our park at this point.
Well, I'm not focusing on the committee. I'm focusing on the fact that to placate him on what his plan was, I assumed you had a plan or that you were working on a plan and you would let us know by fall.
I have to apologize. I'd have to go back and look at that, but we have no group, we have no committee working on any type of marketing at this point. There are a lot of people that have come up with some ideas here and there, but there's nothing, no one taking that forward to present something. Go ahead, Mike.
Mike Basone, 6336 Charm Court. Just a couple comments I want to say. One thing I want to say is I really appreciate Tim in his position because he has actually cleared up a lot of questions about ACC that used to be assumed that really aren't assumed. And with his diligence looking into things, and the same with George. We always thought things were way we were told, and that is not correct. So I really appreciate that. But what I was going to say was ACC, as I remember, was always set up for residential problems, things to do with residential. The common grounds were considered a commercial aspect and was controlled by the trustees. That was the differential. When we got our shed over at the men's club a few years back, we were told that we did not need an ACC approval because it was going on common grounds. So we did not get one, but they did ask that we would put an application in to ACC just as a consideration so they could look it over, and we did do that, so to clear that up. The kayaks in the rack, that was done with Diane Schlier was here as the trustee. That was discussed, it was passed, and they were put in. There was some discussion about it, but that's how that happened. George is right about trailer storage. That little locked compound, you cannot get a trailer in there unless you use a golf cart. And the other question I had was, I'm not sure what happened, but before COVID, there were plans to set up an outdoor trailer parking, which is where the dumpster for the brush is set right now. Across that entire back was going to be gravelled with 6x6s on the back side, just as we have the outside storage now. And it was going to add about 12 spots, and it was going to be for longer trailers. I don't know what, as I said, it was before COVID, so I don't know if that got canceled out, whatever happened.
I think what happened with that, Mike, is that trustees' positions change and things get lost. And that was one of the items I believe got lost because now that area has been reappointed towards RV overnight storage. So someone comes in with an RV and they check in and they can't place it on the property and they don't have a position in the RV storage, so they put it over in that area in order to get to work the details worked out.
Sure.
So that's what it's for now.
Thank you.
And I would like to say, if there is anything that that we're doing on common grounds, that should come to the district office so that it could then go to the Board of Trustees.
We have another comment?
Yes, Mike Brando, 6566 Hanu Court. I guess my trailer is one of the discussions. I'm in the storage area off of Polino. Just want to say I support George and what he's looking to do, and I support Tim. I see everybody's viewpoint. Personally, what I store in my trailer, I would prefer would be in a locked area. Size-wise, as far as size and RV versus kayaks, I guess that's for the board to work out and what the rules call for. I'm new to this. We're new to the park. If I'd have understood there was more going on, I'd have done more homework. But what I've seen, I do support George, and would be glad to talk to anybody. I'll talk to Tim. I got to talk to him about something else anyways, so. But that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Those comments. Thank you, everyone, for the comments, and we have, okay, Deb, go ahead.
I just wanted to know, once you move the furniture out of those buildings, that building, is it just going to be left as an empty building, or something else going in there?
Well, the building, that building that's currently storing the furniture is a park building for our, and I believe the park will come up with how to reuse that. It's not good. It's not part of the men's club. The men's club, they're using, so it's not going to sit there empty. It's going to be reused, but it's going to be reused by our park, which is our maintenance crew as well as our office, and they will bring that to us to say how we want to reuse that space. And I'm sure they already have ideas on that.
Aren't the Christmas decorations stored back there too?
There's a lot up in there. Yeah. There's a lot.
In that building, the first door as you go into the compound is the Christmas decoration storage. The second door is what we're talking about, the men's club for the furniture. For years in the past, it's been talking about that the maintenance needs it. There was a popular thing about the mowing. We may get mowers and vehicles to do our own lawn. That was talked about in the past, and we would need more storage. In the third door is some of the maintenance guys have half of that, and Helping Hands has the other half, which is getting crowded also. It's been cleaned out 2 or 3 different times, but it still gets crowded. And that's what that building's used for. And one more thing I want to talk about. There is an episode where a person couldn't back their RV into an area. So they put it on the lawn next to them, which was somebody else's lot. And people are using other people's lots, and I don't think they have permission. And that shouldn't be happening in here. And that's what I want to bring up. Thank you.
George, I would thank you for bringing that to the attention. I have contacted some of the residents that's been brought to my attention where they've parked a vehicle of some sort, a camper or a personal vehicle on an empty lot. And when I've reached them, the response is, they're not here. And so I've questioned whether they had permission or had permission, and the response is typically no. So they believe that because they're not there, the lot is vacant, that they can just park and use their lot. But I do remind them that it does belong to, there is an owner, and unless they have permission to park there, they cannot park there. And then I will contact that owner and let them know that they have, a resident parking a vehicle of some sort on their property, and then go from there. So I just want to let you know, that's being brought to the attention, it is being addressed.
However, RVs are never allowed to be parked on anyone's property, whether it's yours or someone else's. Okay? So, with that being said, any other comments? Can we adjourn? What?
I'd like to thank Mike and Mike for their kind words for George and I, but you left out Vicky. Because the implied rules that this park has been living on for I don't know how many years are the gray areas we're trying to clean up. I appreciate those kind words. But Vicky's heavily involved in my discussions, and I can't speak on George's behalf, but I'm sure we take up a lot of her time. Thank you, Vicky.
That's what I'm here for.
And that's right, Mike, thank you. And to go along with that, the office on my part as a trustee has been very helpful. Our office personnel and our maintenance personnel have been great in this park. I want all residents to know that, and I would appreciate a thank you to them because they have been doing well. Vicky has stepped up and done some fabulous things. We're going to be getting new gates here shortly.
Thank you, George. Any other comments? Okay, with no other comments, I need a motion to adjourn. Motion and support. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everyone, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.